Imagine sitting with us, a quiet room, two chairs, a small table, time set aside. No performance, no show, only conversation. Moments of listening, wondering, and remembering. Have a seat. You're welcome to listen. Welcome to the Just Right Stories. Today, when we are doing our recording, it's Father's Day.
Right.
Yeah. What I would be interested in, if you could share how original play changed the way you parented. You were as a parent.
Well,
Because you often say, we have to step out of categories when we play.
right.
How does that go together, being a parent and being with your own kids?
Well, first thing I think of is easier said than done. Yeah. I suppose we all have unique situations as parents, but and mine seemed really unique to me.
In what way?
One of the most special gifts I have ever received occurred after I had been with Anthony, Etienne, and their mom, Roselle, for some time, a year or two maybe. I'm not sure how long. I always went by Fred. I never asked them or it never came up that I would be called dad or father or ever. Um, and one day at dinner, we all sat down, and I think Roselle initiated the discussion, and she said, "Fred, we've talked about something, and we have something that we'd like to tell you." And she said, "From now on, we would like you to think of yourself or use the term dad or father." And it was, wow, it was like all my Christmases in one. I And from that point on, I always still consider Anthony and Etienne my children.
Mm.
That, I mean, most of us get children biologically, and there we have them, but and we can always think of that the biological child as a gift. Certainly, it is.
Mhm, mhm.
But mine seemed really special that they chose me. I felt chosen, and that was special.
Mhm.
Um, it started a few years before that when I was at my first time with children's school. Etienne was in one of the classes that I played with. Anthony was in the next oldest class. So I played with them, with other kids during the week. And one of the things I used to do with kids was take them on little trips. I would get groups of 4 or 5 kids in the car, because there was no school bus, and I would drive them short distances to, like we went to the beach to have the kids talk to a hobo that I knew, because these kids would never
Yeah.
see a hobo, never talk to one, never have that kind of experience. So I searched for those kinds of experiences.
Mhm.
One of the things I did while we were on those trips was take photographs of the children. And then I would take those photos and have them commercially blown up to, like very large. Um, and then I would take the blow up of the photo of these kids, and without telling the parents, I would put them up on the wall in the hallway of the school.
Mm-hmm.
So parents would come in and they would see a blow up, like a 3 by 4 foot blow up
Mm-hmm.
of a photograph of their child doing something. They were really creative photographs. And one day, Roselle, Anthony Chen's mom, asked me if I would do the same thing with her kids. So we said, yeah, and we arranged for after school. We would go to a park in downtown La Jolla. There's a park right on the coast. And I would take photographs of Anthony Chen in various positions around the trees and so on. And then we were going home, and we all drove down in my VW. And we were driving back to their home in Point Loma, and Etienne turned around. Oh, where was she sitting in the back? She leaned forward and said, "Fred, do you want to come for dinner?" And Roselle and I looked at each other like, what do we do? Because Roselle didn't invite me. Etienne did.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know how to respond to that. Because if I said yes, that puts Roselle in a really tough position.
Mm.
So Roselle, of course, said yes, come. And now Etienne says, Fred came for spaghetti dinner and he stayed 5 years. And there's truth to that.
Yeah.
Not exactly, but a really important truth. Because I not only got to know the kids with other kids at school,
Mm.
but slowly I got to know them at their home. And we would play. We had what we called play day. It was like one Saturday a month. And from the time of after breakfast until dinner time, we had those water spray bottles,
Mm-hmm.
and each person would get one. And we'd run around the house and run around the yard, chasing each other, tackling each other, rolling around the whole day. And other kids in the neighborhood would want to know, when is play day?
Yeah, I wanted to
So
join.
they would come. That was really, it just kind of slowly changed. And I think the biggest kind of shift was that Roselle had been an at-home single mom now, and she wanted a career herself. She wanted to see what she could do. She wanted to move out, in a sense, in the world. So it kind of just worked out that I would stay home and take care of home things, take care of the kids and so on, and she could explore what that felt like. And I think one of the biggest issues, not that I thought about it at the time, but if things came up, I would think about it. And that was the idea of punishment.
Mm.
If kids don't do what I want them to do or what I ask them to do, and so
Yeah.
what are the rules here?
Mm.
And all of a sudden, I was the person who negotiated what the rules would be.
Mm.
And one day I thought, I remember at the time when I first was there, Etienne was 4 years old. Anthony, excuse me, was 6. I don't know, maybe it was a year later. At dinner, I suggested that it would be good for the kids to help around the house. And I thought, just like help cleaning or taking the dishes to the sink, or setting the table, those kind of things. Nothing more than that. Oh, yeah, and taking care of their stuff. I don't remember what Anthony did. His demeanor, I mean, he would accept that. Etienne just threw a fit. I mean, she ran out of the kitchen. And I just let her go. And she came back, 5 minutes later or something, and she had a 3x5 card, a white card. And she came in the kitchen door and she threw it at me. And I picked it up. And it was a drawing of her crying and with the words, "I hate you" on it. And she had thrown it at me. I still have that card.
Really?
And I showed it at one point. I showed it to her daughters.
So she was so upset that she had to do some work in the
Yeah.
household now.
Yeah. And I mean, now that I think back, I didn't ask them about that. So I think I could have done a better job of creating that space, but I told them more or less. That was the demeanor I took. And
Yeah.
I think I should have had a little softer approach to that. And Etienne and I have this most incredible relationship of she just knows how to put me in a position that helps me learn. And she would, when the kids would come home from school and they would go to their rooms, Etienne would leave a trail of her clothes and books and things from the front door all the way to her room. And at first I would pick this up, just pick it up and take to her. Then it occurred to me, well, if I do that, she's not learning anything. So my next thing was I picked it up and I put it in a box, not in her room. So, of course, the next morning she has to go to school and she's looking for the things that previously had been on the floor and now they were in this box. And she'd get upset and go to this box and be throwing things out. And it'd be time to go to school, and Anthony's already. They go to the same school. So, and I drive them and pick them up. So I get the car with Anthony. And Etienne comes running out on the lawn. She's on the lawn, and she doesn't have shoes or socks on. I say, Etienne, you can't go to school in bare feet. And she's really upset. And I say, it's okay. You wait here. Wait in the house. I'm going to take Anthony because it's time for him to be there. And I'll come back. But she went inside. I took Anthony. I came back. Here was a really good opportunity to replace parent with playmate. As a parent, it would have been very easy to talk about how you need to be ready. It's your responsibility. We have to go to school at this time and so on. I didn't do that. I came in and I said, well, today I have to go shopping and do this or that other thing. And just come along with me and we'll go do stuff, and found her shoes, and we had a really nice day. No, and part of me said, no punishment. No. And I realized I didn't need to punish her. Didn't make sense.
Mm.
So I began, without really sitting down and thinking through this role shift, I began to live the shift from father who has rules about how my kids should interact, to a person who allowed them to figure out those rules within a context of not disappearing, but being there as another person who lived in the same environment. One of the things that Etienne taught me was that if I was away and I was coming home, I parked the car, she would come down to meet me at the car. And I remember thinking, that's incredible. It feels so good. It's like, wow, I'm home.
Mm-hmm.
So what began to happen, that all three of them would come down whenever I came home to meet me at the car. It was such an incredible sense of connection. They didn't have to do that.
Mm.
It's not like they're just sitting there waiting the whole day. They're doing whatever they're doing wherever they're at in the house. And they take the time to welcome me. I still do that. And that's from A10.
Mm.
Just, wow. And that's the kind of, she had a way of, Anthony was more quiet about how things were done, but accepting, clear, present. And Etienne was more active about so I realized that I didn't need to be a parent with rules with the kids. We grew together to have now I call it a just right sense of what needs to be done. It took, I don't know, was it 1 day or 2 days after she gave me that postcard, that card in the kitchen. Etienne was helping. Etienne helped the whole rest of our time together. And so did Anthony. And you didn't have to tell them what needed to be done. They saw what needed to be done and did it before you asked or you even thought about doing it. That's what I mean by a just rightness in a family. We used to, after a number of years together, I don't know who, it might have been Roselle, described the family as, what's the phrase from not Shangri-La, in England, Lancelot, and there was a name for the castle, and I can't quite think of the name of it, but it was a name that reflected and at the time, the presidency of John F. Kennedy was called the same thing. It'll come to me. It's not that Anthony Chen never got into squabbles. They did. I remember 2 incidents. One, we were going out to dinner, and it was a dress-up kind of place. So we were all dressed up. And we were headed on the hallway to the front door. And something happened. I don't know what it was. And there's a squabble. So I had everybody sit down on the floor in the hallway. I said, okay, let me hear. What's going on? So we talked there until everybody had said whatever they wanted to say. And by the time the reservation was long gone. So we went to McDonald's. Dressed up. But no punishment. No. It's just what it was.
Mm-hmm.
One of the times that, another one of their squabble times, it was just Anthony, Chen, and I were coming up the stairs from downstairs. And I heard Chen, I cry out. And I turned, and Anthony had punched her in the stomach. So I looked at both of them, and we sat down. And I took my fist, and I smashed the wall. The wall was wood. It's the wrong wall to choose to punch. But I did it. Then I sat down and cried right in front of him. I didn't say anything. And we all just sat there. That was the last time. Nothing. Didn't talk. Didn't say anything. Didn't punish Anthony. Didn't yell at him. Didn't say don't hit. Don't.
What do you think happened there in that?
What do I think happened?
Yeah.
It was an incredible feeling first of, I don't know, rush of maybe it was frustration in me. That I didn't think about it. I turned and hit the wall and I was done. Wasn't anymore. I didn't have any, wasn't anger, and just sat with them. And my guess is that Etienne had done something, teased, did something that elicited Anthony's thing. I wasn't trying to do something. I wasn't trying to show them, don't hit a person, hit a wall. I was not trying to be a messenger.
Yeah.
But there was something between the three of us that allowed really important messages to be shared without talking. I mean, after 5, 6 years I was with them, Roselle wanted to, from my perspective, wanted to date, wanted to feel, because she had never really done that. And I remember a time after dinner, she had date, and I felt really sad. Not sad for her, because I knew she needed, sad for me. So I went downstairs and sat on the couch. Etienne came down, didn't say a word, sat next to me on her couch and held my hand. She knew exactly what I was feeling. We didn't need to talk. We didn't need to. It was a remarkable experience of realizing and that being with Anthony Chan in a position in which normally I could create sets of rules and so on. That I didn't do that. I found other ways to live together. That experience helped me be a better teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Because a teacher's another social position where
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
rules are inherent in the role
Yeah. Yeah.
and expected.
Mm-hmm.
You're by bosses and parents and everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So when I became a teacher in my own little school or with Mobach, I had already realized in being with Anthony Chen that there was a way to be with the kids without being a teacher and the role model of the culture has.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'd already had, so it wasn't theoretical to me.
Yeah.
With Anthony Chen, like as a parent, being a parent's every day.
Yeah.
You don't get off days or off weeks or off times.
No.
So I had to, if I was going to change to a non-role, a non-category, I couldn't just do it on the weekend. This was everyday thing, everyday shift. And I had to be clear about it. So it was certainly one of the first, if not the first, experiences I had of how to be clear in categorical experiences without being the category.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I had to do that all the time with the kids. So I said that at dinner that one day about helping with dishes. I never said another word.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. About helping. Because you didn't need to. It was just amazing to, sometimes I would just sit back and think, what an incredible presence they have that I'm allowed to join with.
Mm-hmm.
I remember it was after 6 years, I guess it was. I think it was 6 years. I found an apartment because it seemed the best for everybody. And I remember the day that I went across the street. Across the street was a small beach in Point Loma, and I sat on the beach and I said to myself, what if that is the last day you're ever going to be with Anthony and Etienne? What do you want? What do you want to tell them? What do you want them to know? And I said, I want them to be able to say, I knew Fred. And as soon as I said that, I wasn't sad anymore. Because I said, I've done that. I've already done it. Doesn't matter. Wow. And I realized, wow, is that what it really means to be a parent? So that your kids, throughout the rest of their lives, can nod their heads and say, yeah, I knew Fred. And just feel at ease about that. So, and that's the kind of life we lived. It was amazing to we Whenever we went in places, I remember going to a restaurant once and we were, the four of us, it was a dress-up kind of restaurant. And as we're walking in the door, Etienne and I were kind of joking around, touching each other and just kind of jostling, and I'd hug her and then get ready to go in. And people would say, that's not appropriate. You shouldn't. And then we would say, doesn't matter. It's appropriate to us. We didn't have other people defining how our life and our relationships were going to be. Not just other people, but the rules of the culture.
Yeah.
If they're appropriate, fine. Yeah, we live them. If they're not appropriate, okay, we do what is. And that, it was so important over time for me to have lived that.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be able to say, well, I'm not talking about a metaphor. I'm not talking about theory. I'm talking about being an everyday parent. That's the idea of it. And then it made it so much easier to use that model when I was a teacher. And then, of course, play required it. You can't ever be in a category while you're playing. And it's incredible clarity required. Well, it already had helped that I lived it. And the Anthony Chen helped me relearn words like patience. So as the rule maker, father, before they gave me my title, Etienne throws the card or she doesn't pick up her clothes. How patient am I going to be? So my first approach was as if patience is a skill or quality that I have relative to what Etienne. It was more, I had to have patience with Etienne more than Anthony, it seemed.
Okay.
But it took years for me to realize that patience was not a personal quality, was not a personal skill of mine. Is a reflection of a relationship I had with a person, in this case, Etienne. Anthony required a different patience. Rosella, different patience.
What do you mean with patience?
I mean, if I wanted Etienne to pick up her clothes, and if the box didn't work, I'd try something else. Maybe she'd have to buy her. But she wasn't getting the idea as fast as I wanted her to get the idea. Then it was letting go of what I wanted. And letting go of what I wanted gave her freedom to move in a different way. And that may not be what I want or expect, but the patience is to trust the relationship you have with her.
Yeah.
It's not so much, I mean, it's totally different. So I'm not saying trust her to do what you want. That's not it at all. It's trust the relationship you have with Etienne to create the solution to the problem. That's the same with Anthony, same with Roselle. And they were, I think of them now as three of the initial godsends
Yeah.
in my life in which God played with me. I mean, sending me a family to train me. Wow. You don't get family training by reading a book or going to a therapy class or a sociology class.
You needed the real life experience.
Yeah. And it's the everydayness of it that was so important. And that helped with the everydayness of playing, original play. Every day going with new kids when you didn't know what to expect.
You played before you knew Anthony and Etienne. It started in their school.
I started in their school.
Yeah.
I had never. Etienne was in the. They were in the two. I played in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different classes. And they were in 2 of those first classes. And they were in the classes that I spent most of my time in. So she was for like 4 to 6, 3 to 5 in that area. And then Anthony was like 6, 7, 8.
So they were right there at right at the beginning of your.
The very beginning.
Okay.
Um,
So you had those kids in groups, and you then had a family in a more intimate relationship.
Yeah.
Where you were trained.
I was an adult in their school. Not a teacher, but an adult. I'm an adult at their home. That's 2 potential roles, a father and a teacher. And I didn't accept either one. So I became a playmate. I'll use that word. We never used that word ourselves.
Yeah.
We were just together, like you were when you were 6, 7, 8 with your friends playing. You just played together. That's all. That's the way we were. So when parents would come to me then and still now and say, I'm a parent. I have 2 kids. How am I supposed to play with them? Because if I play with them, they won't respect me as the mom. Parents are worried about losing adult respect because they don't understand what original play is, and their respect is built on fear.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell parents that if your respect is built on fear, original play is going to be very hard on you. Yeah. It's going to be extremely hard and maybe impossible for you to do. Because it's going to require an incredible shift in your relationship with your children all over, at any time, any place. You just can't be a cultural category and original play at the same time. Yeah. You can move from one to the other. Yeah. You can be a teacher and a playmate, just not simultaneously. Yeah. And that's really important issue that the kids that Anthony Tin forced me to be clear about. That's a big shift because that's whoever you are, however you live in any culture, original play is going to require that you re-examine your cultural roles. Yeah. Um, and Auntie Chen, Roselle.
Well, I feel like if you play and you change, you shift out of those roles again and again, you start to look at them and think, why do I need that? It's like, why would I need that? Why would I do that? It doesn't make any sense. I can see that my relationship with Jay is very different from what my relationship was with my older kids. It was so much in this parenting role with rules, and you do this and you don't do that, and you're looking back, I can see how stuck I was in that role, and how you do things because I was trained to do that. My culture says I have to do it. Everyone does it. And then if you step out of that, it looks so ridiculous and it looks so nonsense looking at that. But when you're in that, you don't realize it because everyone does it. It's just having the experience that it's a different relationship is possible with your kids or any people. I think, wow, I wish I had learned that way earlier. So I
Yeah,
could have been a very different parent, and I could have my kids had could have lived a very different life.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's original play is so spectacularly different from
Yeah,
culture
yeah, yeah,
that it forces us to question.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, Roselle was Catholic. They were raised Catholic. And in the beginning, I would go to church with her on, special days. She went more often, and the kids went. Didn't seem like they were as attached as she was to the church. I went both to just share with her, but to feel the ceremony in a Catholic church without being Catholic. I didn't care about the rules. I didn't care about whether you could take communion or not. I just did it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it seemed to me if it was really part of Jesus, that's for everybody, not for certain people.
Yeah.
So, okay. And it certainly had I'll call them initial challenges for me regarding religion, church, God, all of that. Because up until that point, I didn't think about it.
Mm-hmm.
They were irrelevant to me, all of it. And it took years for me to realize that God was a part of it from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't acknowledge that, didn't know how to now. I wasn't aware enough
Mm-hmm.
to pick it up because I thought I was doing everything
Yeah. Yeah.
or the kids were doing everything. It
Mm-hmm.
was it was clear to me that original play was just a human process, like everyone thinks it is.
Mm-hmm.
That took a long time. God's there was patience again.
Mm-hmm.
Not it's patience in a relationship, saying Fred is such an incredibly slow learner. What I have to do with him is increase the pressure in such a way that he never feels it. That all he does is increase his curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened. Einstein once responded to a question about joy. And he said joy to him was something about feeling the connectedness with the universe, with all life.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought, wow, that's what I was beginning to feel joy. I had never, I could say that before I was happy,
Mm-hmm.
but not the intensity
Mm-hmm.
of being with Anthony Chin or
Mm-hmm.
Moselle. They kind of shot joy up a whole bunch to a much different level. And to realize that I feel it because I'm part of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's life. That's now it's so easy for me to say joy, love, life, God, all synonyms for the
Yeah.
same thing.
Mm.
I said, oh man. But in order to realize the sameness, I had to experience the difference
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then come to say, oh, it's like David said, Fred, when he play, there's no difference.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and there's a certain sense of that living with Anthony and Etienne and Roselle. The difference, happiness prior to that was 100% human for me.
Mm-hmm.
Joy, living with Anthony Etienne Roselle, was sacred.
Mm.
Without anyone trying to make it that way. And that is the most important, deepest lesson that I learned with them that applied to since everything else I've done, and that it's everydayness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
God is every day. It's like a mutual recognition,
Mm.
like I think a Bushman expression of "I see you."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like now I can say "I see you" to God,
Mm-hmm.
and God goes, "Yeah, about time. I've been seeing you for 50 years." But to feel as you said, now I can't remember exactly how you put it at breakfast, but something you said at breakfast reflects that unity, that connectedness,
Mm-hmm.
which you just know. You know God, you know you and God together, just the same as you know how to breathe.
Yeah, it is having an experience where you feel this. Well, for me, it was my experience of the first time in my life feeling unconditionally loved. At that happened at the first workshop I took,
Mhm.
and it was so shockingly good because I never thought about it, but in that moment I knew, oh my God, this is how unconditional love feels like. And at the same time, I knew this is how God loves me. It's not something that I made up, it's a
Oh,
feeling and just a knowing. And just knowing now I have lived my life fully. There's nothing that I can add to that. It's done. I still want to go live my life, but if I had died that moment, I would have been totally okay, because I have lived. I have fully lived in that one, don't know, second or moment. I have experienced unconditional. I've seen God, or I've seen God looking at me and saying, like you said before,
Yeah.
finally you see me. I've been waiting like 42 years for that to happen.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So you could also say like each child, or each child, each relationship, each connection with a child is one possible way of finally seeing God.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you have the first sight of God over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's literally true. Play forced it. Because if I'm playing in a school, you sit on a mat
Mm.
and 20 kids come in, sit in a circle. I have no idea how each one of those kids lived before they came to me.
Mm.
Are they happy? Are they angry? Are they abused? Are they... And nothing matters. The unconditional love you described is all there is.
Mm.